Morning, Kryptonians. This is Crypto Big Boss coming to you again with another great video. Today is May the 24th, 2021, and I just want to send a special congratulations out to all of those who are graduating. We're in the graduation season, and I know a lot of you are out there wondering how in the hell am I going to pay for my child to go to school now that you put your fortunes and put everything into this crypto, and it just kind of bazonked on you. But I've been trying to get people to understand, hold on, this is just a glitch, and that this computer driven trading is gonna swing it right back. And I'll be damned if we look at the market this morning, Bitcoin is up 13%. Ethereum up 25% since the crash. I call it the 3-day crash. Look at this. Binance Coin up 30%. Cardano 30%. Man, I look at this. Dogecoin 13%. XRP 24%. Polkadot up 24%. Internet Computer 21%. Bitcoin Cash 25%. Uniswap, damn it, 43%. Chainlink back on the scene, 40%. And Polygon 76%. When I tell you to hold on, you need to hold on. Solana up 28%. Ethereum Classic 29%. VeChain 44%. Okay, look at this. Theta up 19%. Tron 15%. Okay, AAVE. See what I mean by computer-driven trading? Okay, all of the graphs starting to uptick in the other direction. It's almost like they had to scare somebody off. They waited. They did what they had to do. Whoever it is they wanted to smash or run off the little guy. Well, guess what? Here we are coming back. Now, I'm not saying that they won't try this again. Okay, I'm just saying you need to be able to recognize that this is not people doing this. This is computer artificial intelligence bull crap doing this. Okay? This computerized artificial intelligence crap acting on behalf of institutional investors to sit up here scaring people up out of their shorts, making people drop valuable assets because they actually need the money to pay for things that are actually important. Things like graduation, things like their house note, things like health care, okay? But we cannot be deterred and we cannot be deceived, okay? We know what they're doing. And since we know what they're doing, we're not gonna sit up here and get taken advantage of by these clowns letting computerized artificial intelligence freaking cream our portfolios. We understand what the technology has to offer, and we're not going to give it up. Keep your Bitcoin, keep your Filecoin, keep your Ethereum, and keep your Chainlink. Stop selling your Tezos. Don't go anywhere. Now, I want to dig into a little bit of an article this morning to further emphasize this point. Okay, it's called "Can Bitcoin Replace the US Dollar as the World's Global Reserve Currency?" Now listen to this. This is by Eric Gink. It was written on May 17, 2021. Okay? For some Bitcoin advocates, replacing the US dollar as the world's reserve currency is a lofty, if achievable, goal. But is it realistic? In brief, government stimulus measures in response to the COVID pandemic have led some to argue that the US dollar risks being displaced as global reserve currency. Bitcoin advocates have argued that the cryptocurrency could take the dollar's place, but skeptics disagree. Now listen to this. Since the end of the Second World War and the Bretton Woods Conference, the US dollar has been the global reserve currency, and today more than 59% of foreign banks' reserves are dominated in US dollars, according to the International Monetary Fund. But the dollar's position as a global reserve currency has been looking somewhat shaky of late. Last July, strategists from Goldman Sachs, institutional investor, argued that the U.S. government COVID-19 response, taking the fiscal stimulus packages and money printing, is triggering debasement fears that could see the dollar toppled from its position as the world's reserve currency. Let's hold up. Don't go no further. Institutional investor stating that the COVID-19 response, stimulus packages, and money printing, and fear could topple the dollar and push Bitcoin into a position of possibly being the world's new reserve currency. And China's yuan continues to nip at the dollar's heels as the country races ahead with an ambitious program of digital currency innovations. Now, wait a minute now. Which one is it? Now, we have a video on this channel. We just put this out. It's all in the news. The Chinese are cracking down on crypto. You're not supposed to be doing any crypto services over in China. It's illegal. It's banned. Well, this is just a few days before that. They say the Chinese yuan continues to nip at the dollar and the country races ahead with an ambitious program for its own digital currency innovations. Now, which one is it? Now, listen at this. With the dollar's status as a global reserve currency potentially up for grabs for the first time in decades, Bitcoin advocates have seized on the opportunity to talk up the cryptocurrency as a possible alternative. Money printer Go BRR. Back in December 2020, Ruchir Sharma, chief global strategist at Morgan Stanley, penned a Financial Times op-ed predicting the end of the dollar's status as a global reserve currency and its eventual replacement by Bitcoin. Fearful that the central banks led by the U.S. Federal Reserve are debasing the value of their currencies, many people have bought Bitcoin in bulk since March. And in Sharma's thesis, wary savers are drawn to Bitcoin because its supply is artificially capped, unlike the dollar and other currencies, which have no supply limit. Dogecoin. The printing of fiat currency is debasement. It is the theft of value from current holders. That's according to Eric Voorhees, CEO of digital asset trading platform Shapeshift, who told this to Decrypt. We have come to embrace this phenomenon, he said, but historically regimes that debase their currency tend to collapse their currency. He's talking about the United States. If you debase your currency, it will eventually collapse. That's what it means when you keep printing money and you don't have a cap on the number of dollars that are out there floating around in circulation. You're debasing the value of your currency. And that's what this guy's talking about. He says one consequence of debasement is inflation. An established international currency can indeed lose ground to others and may eventually lose its dominant position. Okay? This is coming from George Selgin, director of Center for Monetary and Financial Alternatives. Okay? But it's not an easy thing that can happen. It has become sufficiently unstable in value. The U.S. last year, now listen to this, recorded an inflation rate of 1.25%. And according to the Minneapolis Federal Reserve calculation released last month, there's a 33% chance that the U.S. inflation rate will jump 3%, okay, over the next 5 years. This all gives Selgin some reason to be concerned in the long run. But even then, it's not by any means certain that we are looking at double digits in the medium or long run. The U.S. inflation rate is nowhere near Argentina's 36% or Turkey's 15%. It takes a heck of a lot of inflation for people to decide it's worth jumping off the bandwagon onto anything else. Network effects. If the dollar were to collapse, the next bandwagon people would jump to wouldn't be Bitcoin. Sell getting added. But other fiat currencies, that's because they're popular, liquid, and that's what matters in global transacting. It's the idea behind what economists call network effects. I don't agree with that, folks. I think that the general public is very aware of Bitcoin, and they're not going to jump on another fiat currency. The world knows that it's out there now. Sharma's argument for Bitcoin as a reserve currency doesn't rest solely on debasement from money printing. However, the cryptocurrency would also need to function as a useful medium of exchange. Ethereum, smaller businesses are starting to use Bitcoin in international trade, particularly in countries where dollars can be hard to come by, such as Nigeria, or local currency is unstable, such as Argentina. There's a running theme here. I want y'all to hold on to this idea of inflation in these foreign countries like Argentina and Turkey and Nigeria. Okay? But can Bitcoin pose a serious challenge to the dollar's use as a global medium of exchange? The dollar's massive liquidity and network effects are the strongest headwind against Bitcoin's ascent. Okay? Decrypt, while noting that Bitcoin has risen from nothing to $1 trillion market capitalization over the course of a decade, Bitcoin's earnings its own network effect with time. Now listen to that. Bitcoin is earning its own network effect with time. Bitcoin's $827 billion market capitalization seems staggering. After all, there are $2 trillion in circulation and just 1.43 trillion euros as of March 2021. Listen to this, folks. There are $2 trillion in circulation. And we'll say that again. There are $2 trillion in circulation. And just 1.43 trillion euros as of March 2021. Now, they say that these numbers don't exactly provide an apples to apples comparison. Dollars and euros are actively used in everyday transactions, unlike Bitcoin, even though it may be adopted in some isolated cases. A Dutch bank report released in March 2021 noted that Bitcoin transactions average about 0.5 billion per day, equivalent to 0.02% of transactions in euros and 0.009% of transactions in dollars. Okay, so the liquidity and the movement of money exchange, okay, people aren't going out here taking their hard-earned Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto and spending it on stuff. That's what they're saying there. People aren't using it yet to buy shit. But they have stated that there's $1 trillion in market cap on Bitcoin. And there's only 2 trillion US dollars in circulation. They're halfway there. People have spent half the money that they have in circulation on US dollars. They've spent half that much on Bitcoin. I don't even include the rest of the cryptos. And if you look at what the euros held, only $1.4 trillion in euros is in circulation. Come on, that means once Bitcoin returns to its normal, to its $1 trillion market cap and pushes to 1.5, there'll be more people owning Bitcoin than they have euros in circulation. That's what's about to happen. Bitcoin liquidity is much closer to Thai baht. And the Thai baht, not even remote contender for the status of global reserve, isn't the sort of rival Bitcoin's poised to take down, according to this article. It was scrolling down and look at a little bit more. Institutional holding. And we're going to stop on that. The status of the reserve currency doesn't just boil down to its use of medium of exchange. It's also understood in terms of assets held by global financial institutions. This is what I was talking about with computer-generated trading, okay? Sharma mentioned that the dollar as an anchor against which other nations value their currencies. That happened during the Bretton Woods era. An anchor at a descriptor said that, but since the untethered from gold, since we've untethered from gold since 1971, the dollar has been pure fiat. Bitcoin will similarly earn the position of reserve asset because it is scarce, immutable, and apolitical. It's already understood. Bitcoin is going to be a store of value. That's what they're trying to say there. There's no question that the dollar comfortably holds that dominant position today. In the last quarter of 2020, central banks in 149 countries held $7 trillion, representing 59% of all allocated reserves, followed by the euro with 21% and the Chinese renminbi with a distant 2.25%. But central banks hold a variety of assets. That doesn't mean that currencies like the Chinese currency pose a threat to the dollar's status, because it's part of the central bank portfolios. That also is true for gold and would also be true for Bitcoin. So where does this leave us? We could continue to go through this, but I think my opinion is pretty solid. They have already made the case that something that people thought was a fad ain't no fad. Bitcoin can take a hit and go from 60,000 down to 30,000. And oh, by the way, it'll be right back up. There it is, knocking at the door for 40,000. 3 days later, Ethereum can take a hit and hit an all-time high of 4,000. Go all the way down to 2,000, and here it is, right back up to it went all the way down to $1,800. Now here we are at 2,300. And what people don't understand is this: you're trying to deny the reality of the situation. The cat's out the bag. People know that crypto has value. People are starting to learn that the blockchain technology that's underneath these crypto has value. Institutional investors know it. That's why they bought so much of it, that their computerized AI trading algorithms are making the market all go in the same direction and do the same loop-de-loops on every single one of these crypto charts all the way through the top 1,000. You can't fool the general public anymore. There's too much information. Stop trying to act like the general populace is ignorant. They're not ignorant. Stop trying to act like they are not smart enough to see that the US dollar is buying less and less, and this Bitcoin is going to be able to buy more and more. You're assuming that the general populace is so ignorant that they're not talking amongst themselves. You know, I'm sitting up here, I meet people every day. The people that you think know the least, the people that you think don't have any knowledge whatsoever, they're sitting up here talking like they from the backwoods. You find out those are the people that sit up here, got Bitcoin, they got Ethereum, they got Chainlink, they got all kinds of stuff. They sit up, they know how, and some of them are starting to learn how to use the blockchain technology. They learn how to use helium. They learn how to use all this stuff. The people you think don't know anything are the ones that are sitting up here buying everything. So this article right here, when I think about how they are assuming that people are so ignorant that they're going to just jump ship, and they're not going to, if they're not going to use US dollars, they'll go jump to some foreign currency. Bull crap. They know what Bitcoin is. They know what it is. And they're getting their accounts, and they're taking their money, and they're going to get them some. So, all we got to do is wait. Our portfolios are going to come back up. Bitcoin's going to return to where it was and go beyond that. I stated that it would go to $80,000. I stick by that price prediction. And I stick by my $8,000 price prediction for Ethereum by close of business 2021. As a matter of fact, notice I didn't say it's a new crypto winner. I'm telling you, these computer driven artificial intelligence engines are going to drive the market right back to where it was. and you have an opportunity to take advantage of it. So if you've enjoyed this video, please throw up the likes, throw up the shares, and I'll catch you on the next one.